You're listening to Off-Road Garage Podcast, and here are Jason and Jim.
And we're live.
That's it, buddy. That's us.
What's the word, brother? How are you?
Oh, another good day.
Yeah, a great day.
Yeah.
Special guest sort of in the house.
Yeah.
Pretty stoked. It's going to be a rad show, I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited.
Sort of. What do you mean, sort of? What is this sort of crap?
Yeah, all right. Hey, definitely a big deal. The man, the myth, the legend, Bud Brutsman.
There he is.
What's going on, buddy?
There you go. Just hanging, man. Just trying to get a lot of projects squared in, and just everything's good. I'm gonna go on a you guys will be very. I'll take some video and send it to you. But I'm going on a San Andreas Fault Jeep tour out in Palm Springs at the end of this week, like on Sunday. They have
Nice.
but they're doing it COVID style, so you get your own private Jeep, and then you get a tour guide who's taking you all around the mountains. It'll be good.
That'd be really
Oh,
cool.
That sounds really cool. Yeah, definitely California is on my list of places I wanna explore and wheel a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
We've gone as far as Moab, Utah, but we'd like to
Yeah,
expand.
Moab's pretty cool. That's a really different place to go Jeep. And I'm not the biggest Jeep head in the world, but we'll discuss that in a minute.
Yeah, I was gonna say you gotta go a little bit faster normally, don't you?
Yeah, it drives me. I'll tell you, there's that one place in Moab where you go up that sheer face, which is next to the river, next to the highway. You kind of go up that sheer face.
I think it's Poison Spider Mesa.
We were going so effing slow. We were there like, I don't know, I was there with BF Goodrich. I literally just got pissed off and just ran up the hill. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, you don't go slow very often, do you?
No, I don't. I mean, I know there's an art to it, and I'm amazed by it. And for those of us that need to have our sphincter pucker up, by looking straight down, that's all enjoyable. But I'd rather go fast.
And have your fingers pucker up by going fast.
Yeah, but it's a different thing, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys must enjoy, and I don't want to get too graphic, but you guys must enjoy like the slow, tense, elongated pucker up, right? I enjoy kind of the just instant pucker up, like eyes closed, everything in your body closes, and then you're still alive after that, 2 seconds later, and then it goes away.
We've definitely had those situations, and I'm kind of
I like to spread my puckers out. I like both.
I do. I like all forms of off-road puckering.
Yeah. I mean, I've never had anything super high horsepower, but like whipping around the dunes and, going fast is a rad experience too. Most of my puckers have been on two wheels though. In that
Yeah, no,
respect.
that's a whole other bag of nothingness. No, that you don't. I'm not a two-wheel guy. I don't do anything two-wheel. That is too crazy. I need a cage and some, some metal between. Yeah.
You and Jay have that in
finally.
common.
Totally agree with that.
You and Jay have that in common. So, like, I love whipping around on, I've got a YZ250 with a paddle on it. I'll go to the dunes and tear it up, but, you get some 17-year-old out there and their dad's F-250 bombing across the terrain. It gets really sketchy really quick.
That's when you need the cage.
Yeah.
So your two-wheel stories always end the same. It's like, and then I crashed and I woke up in the hospital. It's like, no, that's not.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that.
I usually just wake up looking around like everything moves. All right, cool.
I don't like doing the full body check. Like, all right, toes
Nope.
good, feet good, legs good, arms good, head kind of moves. Okay, I'm good.
Yeah, where's my bike?
Do you know what we call motorcycle guys in Mexico, where I do a lot of racing?
Organ donors?
Yep.
So obviously, we're getting that is you've done the Baja 1000, I believe, like once or twice, correct?
I think the last count was 13. I was dumb enough to do it 13 times. Yeah. And by the way, I haven't done much else. I mean, I've done some blue water races and some other races here in the States and some other off-road races and the 500 a few times. But really, the majority of my off-road racing experience was either pre-running for the Baja 1000, which weeks and weeks and hours and 10,000, 20,000 hours down there, and then the race, or nothing at all. Like didn't want to work. My first off-road race was the Baja 1000, which is just full on stupid.
Off-road
Right,
race.
which is you just jumping headfirst into it. I totally love that.
That's like one of your documentaries, and my first mountain I climbed was Everest, right? I mean,
That's actually true. The first mountain, I went 2016, exactly that. I mean, I just thought, I don't want to do anything small. Why work up? Doesn't matter.
Full throttle all the way. That is so awesome. Oh my God. Yeah.
It's the Kobe Bryant philosophy, just high school to NBA. Just
Right.
skip all the middle, the shit in the middle.
we were kind of discussing it. And I was like, you're like the ex-boyfriend in a Ben Stiller movie. You're like, oh, here's a picture of me at Machu Picchu. Here's me winning the Baja 1000. Here's me on top of Everest. You're like, oh my God.
Hey, here's me working a 9 to 5 at the taco stand.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
All right, so let me tell you that because his name's Kevin, by the way. Don't just discount him because it's Owen Wilson who played Kevin. So
Apparently, based off his life.
Hold on, I swear to God, here's how it goes. I live that guy, and I'll tell you why. Because I'll do this. We'll play a game, and 100% I can send you photos right now. It's true. Ask me what I did last week.
What'd you do last week?
What did you do?
I'm glad you asked. So last week, I was 7 hours south of Mexico City, and I was with Jerry Lewis's son, Chris Lewis, and we were building a wheelchair repair shop for children in wheelchairs.
That is epically, awesomely amazing.
But that's right out of the movie, right? So half the problem.
Sure.
I do a lot of. I'm fortunate because of my business and some of my shows. I get a lot of cool stuff. But it also absolutely makes me the biggest asshole at a party or event. And I do remember this. I got on Everest, or I'm doing something. I built a floating hospital in Cambodia, and then my wife wants to go to some stupid event. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to your event. And they're like, hey, bud, what do you do? I'm like, nothing.
Yeah.
I don't say it because otherwise you can't. I can flip through my phone like, I just got back from Cambodia. We built a floating hospital for a village. I don't know. There's no way to say that
That's all right.
without looking like Kevin.
That's what I mean. I was like, oh my God, that's
It's
hilarious.
like Family Guy, like he's an astronaut, cowboy, spaceman at this high school reunion, you know?
Right.
Yep.
Oh, where's that? Oh, he's running late. He should be parachuting in any minute. What?
Red Bull chopper just drops him off.
Oh, it's like, sorry I'm late. I just saved a family of kittens from the mouth of a Komodo dragon. Where were we at?
Oh, so
It's kind of ridiculous. It's kind of ridiculous, actually.
you set the stage for ridiculous.
So I'm not sure if you're clear on the
Awesome
show how many you've heard, but we do wormholes on here pretty often. So just bear with us.
No, we won't do that often. I'll try not to.
No,
We absolutely celebrate it.
And most
kinda
of our
what we
listeners
do.
expect it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
So let's go back to Racing Baja 1000 because I think a lot of our listeners definitely would love to hear about this. I mean, that's like the epic race. I mean, if you're in off-road and you haven't heard about it, I don't know what rock you're under, how long you've been in off-road.
Right.
That's, I mean, for the longest time, that was the race.
Yeah, you just got to turn in your beer opening keychain and just go drive a Kia or something. There's no way you haven't heard of the Baja 1000. You know, the Baja 1000 is the oldest and most dangerous and the longest point-to-point race in the world. I mean, it's different. And I went to Dakar 2017. And I'll have fun. I'll make fun of Dakar. If you guys want to know my version of Dakar.
Yeah, I'm curious.
And you guys are from Michigan, right? So
yeah.
Here's a Dakar. Dakar is a stage race, right? So I was really trying to figure it out, right? And listen, you know, Dakar's racing and it's dangerous and it's sandy and all this other shit. And, you know, I have a lot of friends that did do it, and I don't want to take anything away from there. But I'm going to make this clear to everybody. I'm a hardcore Baja 1000 racer, right?
Yeah.
And so I went to Dakar. I was a guest of BF Goodrich, who's one of my big sponsors. I'm part of the performance team for BF Goodrich for some God knows what reason. But they tolerate me, and I do a lot of fun, cool stuff. So I was a guest there. I went to the Dakar, and I love Dakar. If people don't know what Dakar is. Dakar is long and it's grueling. And it's like 17 days, and it used to be in Africa, and it got moved because of terrorism and all sorts of crap. And now it's sometimes in South America, and now the past 2 years, it's actually in Saudi Arabia, starting in Riyadh. So they really love sand. I'm not that big of a fan. I'm not that big of a fan of sand, anyhow. By the way, okay. But I have an absolute. Even you guys will be able to understand. I have an absolute. That was not a compliment, by the way. I have an absolute clear-cut way to understand the difference between Dakar and Baja 1000. Okay, so let's explain what Baja 1000. Baja 1000 is green flag drop. It's 1,000 miles. You stop about it depends on how fast you're going, every 2 hours, every hour and a half, every 120 miles. You get tires and gas. And usually, sometimes you switch drivers. And some drivers, sometimes you have two drivers, and then sometimes you and your co-driver switch, three-man team. And it can be anywhere from 20 hours to 52 hours. I had a race that I raced for Ford one time that was 52 hours, right?
We got
The
to
longest.
we got to touch on that one too. So remind me to go back to that. That sounds awesome.
No, that's not even a fun story. That's annoying. Oh my god. Oh my. And my co-driver vomited. I have audio of that. No. Wait. Hold on. Not only he vomited 17 times and had been taken out of the car because he was dehydrated, and I was just wearing him out because I was so mad at him because not only were we not racing, but he wasn't. Yeah, we're not racing, but he's not calling out turns. He's just vomiting in his helmet, and when he wasn't vomiting his helmet, he was recovering from vomiting his helmet, preparing to vomit in his helmet again. The whole truck. This is actually very funny. Okay, we'll get to that. That was 2000.
We're gonna have to touch on that because I have so many questions about it.
2013. Oh no, I can answer them all. Unfortunately. Anyhow, so it's a point-to-point race, right? You're going from usually in the long run to point-to-point. You're going to go from Ensenada, Mexico, 1,000 miles, 1,200 miles, 1,300 miles, whatever the course is that year that these sadistic, evil, batting jackasses who mark the course decide to take us through.
So it does change every year.
Every year,
okay.
Yeah, every year. Yeah, there's a group of guys led. I won't even tell you the name because I think it's like the Knights Templar. They're just evil bastards, and some of them are friends of mine who mark the course. And these idiots are in these razors, right? And they didn't used to be razors. They used to be in trucks, so they're a little more forgiving. And now they're in these 200 horsepower razors, and they can go through anything. And they have. I'm telling you, I promise you, because I've raced it so many times. They're like, okay, you're flying down a road at 70 miles an hour, and you go to these euphoric places, and you hit this turn, and you're going, okay, that was really cool. You power it out, you get out, you get this next, there's a left-hand turn, and the right-hand turn, and then there's a cliff. And they know they're doing it. They know they're setting you up, but like, you got 2 S-turns at 70 miles an hour, and then they're going to drop you off a cliff. And you better roll up, and you better do your homework, because if you don't, you're flying off that cliff at 70 and landing someplace 100 yards down the road. It's just, they force you to pay attention, right? And that's when, we talked about the pucker factory. Anyhow, It is the most grueling endurance race in the world. Argue with me, send these guys an email or whatever. I promise you it is, right? All right, so then Dakar, which is grueling race, and there's a lot of arguments, and your viewers are going to be emailing and blasting about it.
Yeah,
but Dakar is a stage race, right?
Okay. Yeah, they do it several days, right?
Right. 15 days. 16 days, right? Yeah, 16 days. Trust me, I went through that. I was like, what the hell is this?
You're like, are we still doing this?
Yeah. And some of the stages are, they say 200 miles, and some of the stages are 80 miles, and some of the stages are 400 miles, right? Some of the stages are long. Yeah. And in those stages, and you have to pay attention to it. You can watch it. That car's coming up. In those stages, there's a thing called the special, right? Which the special only means the rest of the course is not that special, right? But the special is actually the hardcore part of it, right? And I'm going to give you the first example. And I promise you can look up 2000.
I've watched a little bit of it, and I was always curious. They never really show everything. They always seem like they cut to, I don't know, some car just. I don't even know if they cut to the special. It's always just like some car going through the desert, and it looks like it's about to get technical, and then they like flip to another car going through the desert. I'm like, go back.
No, there is no back. I'll tell you why. Here's what happened. We flew into Lima, Peru. So we're in Lima, Peru, and we all start. There's this big spinning dig, and it's massive. I mean, it's pageantry, it's massive. And you got to remember that the Dakar is owned by ASO, the same guys who went Tour de France. So they know how to run a stage race, and they know how to do this, and there's a lot of pageantry, and everybody takes off, and they just literally just haul ass down the highway. And then we go down to a place called Pisco, which is funny, right? And at Pisco, and I know because there's a beautiful hotel at Pisco that we stayed at, and trust me, I was everything I could not to get in 10,000 fights and talk shit as much as I could. So we go from Lima, Peru down to Pisco. Now, let me just give you my skinny, right? And I know I'm off by a few miles, but not much. So Pisco, I'll give you whatever the mileage is. Pisco is about 200 miles south of Lima, Peru. And I know I'm off by that, but I don't really care.
Yeah.
Right. And that day, the first day, the stage was 219 miles. So follow me.
Yeah.
So you drive from Lima, Peru down to Pisco, 200 miles on the highway, grueling. And then you take a left into the sand dunes for the special, and you go 19 miles in the sand, which is really difficult. It's a pain in the ass, and I hate sand anyhow. and you're going up and over and around. You go through, and then we land at this 5-star hotel, right? And there is, at least I did, right? But there is,
At least I did.
there's this gigantic bivouac, right? Which is awesome. That is amazing to see. But at the bivouac, everybody has their tents, and some guys are sleeping in the RVs, and there's a place to shower and the food. So they do an amazing job moving the bivouac around. And then you have your team work on your car, right? So we went to the bivouac that night, and the guy's like, "How was your race?" Like, "Oh God, I'm exhausted." It's like, exhausted? You like 200 miles on, like you drove from LA to San Diego and then went 19 miles in the dunes. What are you exhausted about? Like, I'm like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And then there's 12 guys working on your car. You just showered and you're eating and you're actually going to sleep. Holy shit. Okay. So here's my analogy. Ready? Here's my analogy. I have a really good analogy for this, right? And so the analogy is the way that the English hunt, right? Here's my vision of the English hunt, right? So English hunt, they're like, "Hey, Sir Charles, you want to go hunting?" "Yeah, I'm going to go hunting." "Yeah, let's go hunting." So what do? They get the horse and they get their dog and they go off the back of their own property and they chase some damn fox for like 12 minutes. They shoot it and they're all dressed up and whatever stuff. They shoot the fox.
Nothing
they drag their
camouflage.
dogs. Yeah, nothing camouflage, right? And then they take it back to the lodge and they all drink, have cigarettes and drink and hang out. It's like, "Oh my God, that was a hard day of hunting." Now, cut to the guys in Michigan, right? Who like trek through the snow for 4 days and they're tracking some gigantic elk. Then, if they're really unfortunate, they shoot the damn thing, and now they got to field dress it, and they got to take this now they got 2 guys that are cold, haven't taken a shit in 3 days, and they just shot a 2,000-pound animal, and they're not happy about it because now you have to like cut it and field dress it and pack it out of there for another day and a half.
Right.
So to me, that's the difference between the Baja 1000 and that car. Now, it's not bad. It's just that the English people they just got it. It's a little more sophisticated, a little more fun, a little more civilized.
Yeah.
And then down in Mexico,
a little more elegant.
way more elegant. It's like they have thieves. They're like, "Wait a minute, you sleep?" And like us idiots in Baja just take the green flag and just, I don't know, just drive. You don't sleep. Right. You're not eating. You're not doing anything. It's just different. It's the Wild West.
Jeeves doesn't pop out of the rolls and change your tire for you.
Yeah, no, not at all.
I just had like a very Ricky Bobby and the John Paul guy like in my head, like Baja versus Dakar.
And I put a lot of thought into that. I'm thinking why is this? I mean, and listen, it's difficult. And listen, a lot of Baja racers have gone over and haven't won because half of them don't understand the strategy. Like, wait a minute. Save your car, kind of get in the top 3. I mean, a lot of it's gamemanship. To me, it's like a fucking poker run. Like, what are you doing? Like, I just want to be in the top 5 on the first day, and then I'll be close to Jean-Jacques the second day, and then maybe he'll break down and I'll win the race and I'm a stage win. Like, I don't get all the gamemanship. I'd rather smash mouth MMA, go down to Mexico and haul ass, and whoever's the fastest wins. It's a little easier for my brain to process.
Right.
And now they got rid of the likelihood of
way.
pirates and stuff is much less now, so it kind of kills that fun.
The ones in Dakar? Yeah.
Paris Dakar used to be huge in pirates down there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah. We have booby traps, which are kind of like pirates, if you want to discuss that.
I was
going to
ask
that, and I've heard that, and I wanted to know, like, the actual legitimacy of some of that, because I've heard that kind of stuff, like, "Oh, man, you wreck your car, it'll be stripped in no time," kind of thing. Is that a thing?
Well, legitimacy? What are you talking about, legitimacy? What do you mean? Like, you don't believe that it happens?
Well, like, there's, like, talk. I believe that it happens, but I'm wondering how much of it happens.
It's like we live in Detroit. So if anybody around us says, "Oh my God, you guys are by Detroit, you must get shot at all the time." No, I mean it happens sometimes, but not all the time. Like how much of a problem?
There's areas where
I
I wouldn't want to park my car, but it's not going to get stripped out at the red light.
Listen, I know 4 months out of the year you guys don't see sunlight. I totally get it. So I'll get it.
My vitamin D's low.
We get a little low. We get a little low on vitamin D and a little too rich in the whiskey. But
well, first of all, so there's an instance we should talk about, right? Because this is good. Have you guys? I produced a movie about 3 years ago called Dust to Glory. Have you guys seen that yet?
Yes.
All right. So it's on Amazon. Buy it on DVD. It's kind of everywhere. You can download it on a lot of places. So Dust to Glory covers and explains a lot of it. But I'll explain the booby trap. And I'm going to explain it in a very funky way. So it was, about 2015 and earlier, it was a lot more prevalent. A lot more. There was a hell of a lot more of them that happened, right? Okay. And I'm going to say something that's going to sound so wacky because I've almost died a couple times in booby traps, right? But it kind of catches the new racers off guard. I definitely got caught off guard one time.
Okay.
And it's kind of done. They try to kill you in kind of a fun-loving way, but almost like any other attempted murder scene, these crazy guys stick around to help you, right? So let me play it out. Okay. And it happened. I've almost got killed twice, right? Once I made the right decision. The other one, I was just a naive jackass, right? So here's what it is, right? The booby traps. All right. So imagine if the guys on the infield at Talladega were in control of the racetrack, right? That's what this is, right? That's not the guys in the stands. I'm talking about the complete inbred people. Please don't send nasty letters to me, but the complete interesting gene pool that is in the inside infield of Talladega is the control of the race, right? And they can put obstacles, and they can put slow cars, they can throw a random cat, maybe a cow, some horses, whatever you want, they can do it. But that's what Mexico is, right? Because so what happens is in certain populated areas, and I'll give everybody the tip, right? And I didn't learn this till but I was driving one time. It was 2006. It was early when I was racing. And we were flying. I was probably doing 80, 90 miles an hour down a dirt road, right? So I'm just hauling ass and going. Getting it. Love it. And I look over, there's like, oh, there's a bunch of people up ahead. Oh, okay, that's cool. And then, as you get closer, the people are cheering you on because they're good sports. They're like, go faster.
Good sports.
Like, these guys are good sports. Like, and literally, it's all slow motion. I'm taking in like fucking lawn chairs, barbecue, the weather. Oh, there's kids over there. Man, these people are amazing. They're really into it. This. Yeah, they're really into this. And at that moment, what these assholes did is they buried a telephone pole in the ground. Right.
That's when Bud knew he messed up.
Right. Oh my God. And then I felt like that. I felt the pucker, but it was a mid-air pucker, like you guys have in Moab when you're kind of facing the ground. You're like, oh, that's not good. And the speaker shit starts hitting you in the back of the head. So I hit this thing and it launches straight up and we're going, and then we're going down straight. And I'm like, we are going to flip like you would not believe. And so luckily, and trust me, it wasn't out of skill or panic. I think my body just froze. I didn't hit the brakes. If we hit the brakes with, the front wheels were locked, we would have just tumbled 6 times. And then, which is, by the way, let's I'll take you down a weird path.
I love
it. Let's pretend I panicked and hit the brake, and my front wheels touched down and didn't roll out of that little bucket that they gave us, right? They gave us a huge bucket.
Up, right?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. All the people, this is different than Detroit, because those assholes don't stick around. All the people who just tried to kill you come over you, and they help you out of the car, and they give you a beer, and then they start working on your car and jacking up and fixing the tires. You're like, didn't you? Who is it? And then you start pointing, and no one pays attention to you, and you want to yell at them, but the beer tastes really good. And then there are 3 guys working on your car, and a couple kids running off of your helmet. You're like, what is this? I couldn't even understand this. I'm surrounded by Mexican people who are just tried to kill me, but now they're helping me put my car back together.
It's like a really awkward meet and greet.
Yeah, you just kind of go with like, which one of you assholes, buried that telephone pole? No, Nintendo. They don't keep doing it, but can you fix the tire? They fix the tire and they start working on it. And then, this is a funny story too. You always carry money on you. One of the things you learn very early on, because you need a tire, you need a welder, you need gas, you need something. You dive deep into your underwear, sweaty underwear. You pull out a $20 bill and you hand it to the crowd, and who just wrecked your car, flipped your car over, but then got $20 out of it, and now you're back in the race.
Right, because they fixed your car, because it was just a complete hillbilly meet and greet. It's like you say, like NASCAR, like they throw down the spike strip, the dude hits the wall, bursts into flames, slide down. He's like, hey, cool, can I get your autograph?
No, they put you out, they change the car, and then they ask for an autograph, take a selfie, and then they push you back in the race.
Right.
So
that's awesome. They should add that to NASCAR.
Oh my God! Yeah, exactly. Well, all they have to do is let the people in the infield with Talladega take over. Like, you guys can do whatever you want.
That would be amazing if they did that. Like, the audience gets to control the track. Like, all of a
First
sudden,
40 people get a parking barrier.
all of a sudden, jump.
Dude, but that's what it is. I'm not joking. You can get on YouTube
awesome.
and go
Okay.
like, Baja booby traps. Just go Baja booby traps. You'll see 10,000 of them. It's real.
I've
Do it
actually
now.
watched them, and they're terrifying.
Yeah, watching,
Oh my God!
watching just complete destruction of an amazing automobile.
Well, especially like I've got a small idea what that truck can take, and then you see it vertical slamming into the ground at 90. It's just and starting to come apart and wad up and yard sale. It's like, dude.
I mean, it's got to be stressful, like you said, doing 80 and having these people like try and touch the car as you're going down the track. I guess you would say like that's like got to be stressful too. I mean.
Well, they do, yeah, and it's really bad. There's a thing called what we call the prize cow, right? So there's a couple of weird things that happen in Mexico, which is most of the cow. I guess it has to be large livestock. Here's my opinion, right? Large livestock don't understand the note of an exhaust, right? They don't. All they know, they must be tone deaf. They have to be tone deaf, right? Because the farmer comes around in his normal beat up, crappy pickup with the exhaust rusted off, so it kind of sounds like a hyped up V8, and he dumps hay off the back of it, so they know, okay, I'm going to walk towards the road because I just heard that crappy exhaust, and so here it comes. The problem is, around November, that crappy truck is now a 1,000 horsepower trophy truck with 40-inch tires screaming down the road, and there are trucks being it. I mean, I bought it. I was racing one time 2010 with Bill Weber, and there's a horse jumped right out in front of us, and our just dead in front of us is in a dead run. As we're slowing down, we're kind of picking his rear end up off the ground, and luckily, because we don't have windshields. These things come if the animal comes apart. It's coming through the window and killing us for sure.
Yeah, you became ceviche.
Oh yeah, terrible, terrible. Yeah. Anyhow, but here's the funny thing. So these I got to get to my random story. Yeah. So, it happens all the time. I've seen it so much, right? So these cows, and they're just emaciated and skinny, whatever. But there's an amazing phenomenon in Mexico. Every cow you hit. Every one, right? Every cow you hit is their prize bull, right? So what happens is, and then by the way, these people are awesome. You're 700 miles from the finish line, and sure enough, you grab your trophy, you got a couple beers in you, and then comes some guy with his hat down, and a couple police officers and a race director, and they tap you on the shoulder, and it's like, this guy says you killed his sacred cow. Like, well, I was doing 120, and I thought I hit a cow. How did that guy even get my number, first of all? And how come every time I kill a cow, it's somebody's goddamn sacred cow? And so you put your beer down, it's like, all right. And he's like, how much is for a sacred cow? $400. Oh, God. You got to get cash out, and then you go over there. And I'm sure he's going to go to 9 other racers and tell them they killed their sacred cow.
Oh, for sure.
But it's always the livestock. Like, you ruined his whole entire business. That cow, he was the father of 500 other cows, and his whole, it's some random cow, and God bless it. But there's some livestock that gets hurt down there. It's definitely the Wild West.
That's like the amazing kind of story I wanted to hear.
Right.
That is awesome.
Something you don't think about.
Yeah, I did not know about hitting the sacred cow.
Right. Like I've seen the booby trap thing. I get it. Yeah. I've heard that. I've seen people trying to touch the truck like it's Toro. Like when they go by, they try to smack the truck, which is ridiculous.
And the selfies, they take selfies all the time. I mean, some of those guys, I don't know, some of the guys in the higher classes, the trophy truck classes, they're mid-air. There's a beautiful one that the Honda team did. But in their mid-air, just helpless, and people are stepping out with a camera trying to get the closest selfie.
I've seen some of those. They're crazy.
Yeah, it's insane.
And I guess that kind of going back to the cage and the four wheels thing, like I feel a lot better in that than doing that in two wheels.
Yeah, here I am on my XR 650, and some cow walks out in front of me.
Your handlebars, and then you hit a cow. I mean, we're in Michigan. Hitting a deer will total your car. Hitting a cow, I I don't even know
And
the
now,
chaos that
I've
causes.
been fortunate enough to put the bike down and slide under deer that are jumping over me.
Oh, that's insane.
But mine are I was only doing like 50 or 60. I can only imagine it 110 on a 650 in the desert smacking a cow.
Oh, you're dead. No, you're dead. I mean, Kurt Caselli, 2013. Kurt Caselli was an amazing,
Yes.
one of the best
Yep.
racers in the world. I was down there. I was filming for ESPN. I was racing. Yeah, I was racing that year. I was racing that year in the 2000. Yeah, in the Ford F-150 EcoBoost, and Kurt Caselli was leading the entire race, first place, and he was probably 90 miles, 90 miles. And then the KTM helicopter had to land because it was early morning. It had to land to get fuel and to pop back up, and they couldn't find him. Right. Nobody could find him. And this, I don't know if the story's public or not, but I mean, nobody could find Kurt. And he hit an animal, and he flew off his bike, and he was 50 or 60 yards off, and he got killed. And it was horrifying because that was a terrible, terrible wreck. But that leading a race and being the first one through the line, that's a dangerous place for a motorcycle rider.
And it was a terrible loss to the off-road community too, because he was such an ambassador for everything down there too.
Yeah, Kurt was amazing.
Yeah.
He raced that car many times, and he was dominating. He was a really good dude. I spent a little bit of time with him in Reno at the Hare and Hound race up there. But yeah, that happens all the time. It's definitely racing.
Yeah, just adds to that legacy of the challenge and the toughness.
Yeah.
And yeah, definitely. Yeah, I love these stories.
Yeah.
I think if I do Baja, I'll do it in a truck or a buggy or even a Razor. I don't think I want to do it in Baja on a bike.
No.
I'll keep the bike around here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good plan.
that's much
Good plan.
better. Open field.
Yeah.
Well, there's plenty of trees to hit, but I'm not going 100.
Yeah, we don't have anything fun like that. I've always said that's the downside, kind of being this, in the East Coast, there's just nothing of that, level.
What's that?
Of Baja. We don't have a race like that around here. Not
for
off road.
Not for trucks.
No.
We've got some really, really good hare and hound or hare scrambles and GNCC for bikes.
Yeah, but
not to the level of Baja.
Not to
obviously.
that level.
But there's nothing. I mean, it's one of two really rad races in the world, right?
Yeah,
Baja and Drakkar, the two you hear about.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Drakkar is that clone you wore in high school, so let's not get those.
That's right. Yeah, my bad. Dakar.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. It's not that
Drakkar Noir.
stinky crap you wore in high school.
It came out and it didn't sound right, but I got a flashback of the smell.
And the bad part about it is you think I was going to let that slide.
Yeah, I was hoping, dude. I was hoping against hope because it came out and I was like, pause it.
Nah, nope. That's
Yeah,
live. buddy.
I'm sure. Yep, that's Drakkar. You go race Drakkar, jackass, in your little polo shirt. We're gonna.
I'm gonna send you an Off-Road Garage podcast koozie with some Drakkar Noir in it.
No, but just soak it in Drakkar and then send it or whatever the hell the name of the
I'm not
cologne
sure the post office will let it go through, stinking up the whole place.
That's like, oh, no, but you guys have hunting and there's cottages and there's. I mean, I was just up there. I built I was in Grand Rapids for a week and we helped rebuild a gym for underprivileged kids up there. Now,
cool.
A friend of mine who's a world famous, super famous. His name's Dave Beatty. He's a taxidermist up in Grand Rapids.
Okay.
And we built a couple of really cool places. I liked it up there. I didn't get to go duck hunting because I think it got rained out or washed out or something like that.
Isn't duck hunting the best time to go in the rain? It seems like duck hunters are always wet and muddy.
Yeah, no, that sounds cold. And, it sounds cold and terrible. Anyhow,
I mean, it is
I
nice.
talk a lot.
The only thing we're missing is mountains, really. We've talked about this before, and it's nice that we're one of the states. We talked to other people from other states. And we're like, oh, yeah, we went up north this weekend. And they're like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Like, no, that's where we kind of vacation. We just travel a couple hours north, and it's completely different scenery and woods and lakes. And
Well, when I went wheeling in Pennsylvania this year, and unless you go to back roads, dirt roads, or a park, you ain't wheeling.
Right.
And we've got thousands of miles of 2-track for full-size users, and we've got thousands of miles of single-track for bikes, where a lot of places don't have that. We're pretty fortunate. I mean, by comparison, we don't have sacred cows to hit while I'm eating a street taco at 300 miles an hour, but
you'd like to.
By the way, those are one and the same.
Yeah. Well, it's
it's
prepackaged.
That's where you get the
That's barbacoa on the hoof right there, son.
Man, it's like a win-win.
Exactly right.
Got portable barbacoa. So what's
the people in Mexico? The people in Mexico are amazing. They're unbelievably the hospitality they grant us and what we get to do, and we're privileged to go down there. And obviously, it's a huge economical impact for what we do at SCORE for for Baja, and the people are just so gracious.
Right.
So anyhow, what was your question?
I was going to ask something about you and a tree at Baja, or a cactus or something. I was reading one of your articles. What happened to that?
Oh man.
It seemed like that was a pretty big deal.
Oh yeah, that was terrible. 2000, yeah, that was bad. 2007. It's one of those weird jackass things about it's a lesson in life. So here's a lesson in life, right? You see all those horrible videos on the internet. It's never over till it's over, and you kind of mentally stay focused, even though technically it's not necessarily my fault. And boy, is he gonna be mad that I said that. So I was racing with a very, very dear friend of mine named Bill Weber, who is a member of SEAL Team 6, and he was the desert operative for SEAL Team 6 and developed some of the fast attack vehicles that they used in Kuwait.
We're gonna have to go down that rabbit hole for a second. What?
Oh yeah, yeah, you have to. He's the best. He's the greatest guy in the world.
This hitting a cactus story went completely more awesome than I ever expected. Usually it doesn't start with, I was with a SEAL Team 6 member.
Who designs their desert trucks.
But go ahead.
No, they're trucks. No, they're not in the desert trucks. It's the FAD vehicles, the fast attack vehicles. They had the 50 cal mounted on the top, so it had two litters on the top, and had a 50 cal mounted. The guy sitting over the top of the engine was 50 cal.
Nice.
And they went into Kuwait City, and it was built by a guy named Chenwith. But Weber was the SEAL Team liaison and the team guy. He was actually the first American in Kuwait City because he was on that. He was driving that fast attack vehicle. Anyhow, so Weber's my co-driver in 2007, and we are just, this is crazy. We are, I got to remember the whole story. We are leading the Baja 1000. So this is 2007. We're leading in our class. We didn't necessarily know it because we didn't get a lot of intel because it's just, I don't know, you're in the middle of nowhere. There's no intel. And we get to pit 10 outside of Cabo. And we think we still have one or two more cars to catch, right? There's some people in front of us, and we got to catch them. We can see dust, we can see tail lights. So we get to the pit in pit 10, and we're down by this place called Todos Santos. And we didn't know we were leading, but we knew we had to catch somebody in front of us. So we pit really quick. My pit crew's not there. So we beat them to the pit. So we couldn't switch cameras on the car or anything like that. No refreshments on nothing. Doesn't matter. Real quick, got out of the pit and got back on the course. And Weber was driving. And I'm co-driving, and I remember very clearly. I think he did this for me, by the way. He saved my ass because I tell him all later. This is a funny story. I talk about how I introduced him for a long time, and then his comeback. If you know team guys that well. So we're flying, and we finally catch this guy. And there's a rule in Mexico, right? It's a rule in racing in general, especially down there, which you don't drive in the dust. Drive what you can see, right? Because there's just if you're following someone at 80, 90 miles, 100 miles an hour, just something bad's gonna happen. So just wait, be opportunistic. Wait for a left-hand turn. You can kind of clear out. But we're in kind of my version of single track, which is just two tracks. There's trees on either side. There's a barbed wire fence, which is put in by cement pylons, so it's kind of a Ritchie area down in Todos Santos, down by the coast. And we're following someone, and we're catching them. I can see their lights. So we're hauling ass, and I know we're going to get them, and Bill's just seeing red, and he's pissed off, and we're going to go, and he's going. So we see it, and all of a sudden, out of the smoke or out of the dust, it becomes really clear. It's like, oh, shit, it's clear. What happened to the car? And right in front of us is a big, gigantic white palm tree.
Oh.
So we're doing 90. So I think I'm dead. I'm not even joking. I'm like, I'm dead. So I scream, oh shit, like any other little child who's about ready to lose his life and become a quadriplegic. So Weber jerks the wheel as hard as he can, and we skip the right side of the car, my side of the car, off of that palm tree. Skip it. We just bounce. And we go left laterally into another palm tree, which shaves the whole left side of the car off.
Oh.
And what I mean by that is left front tire, de-beated. Let me tell you this. You guys are off-roaders, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so 90 miles an hour, we de-beated the front tire, and it flew about 100 yards down the road, shattered the rim. Tire was fine, because I know the head of BF Goodrich race team is a guy named Jeff Cummings. He went and found the tire and goes, and I was like, told him to fuck off. He's like, look, the tire's fine. Like, that's what
Tire's
you want to
good.
worry about? The tire's good.
Oh, that guy's awesome.
You couldn't even beat the tire. Anyhow,
It's framed at BFG headquarters.
Yeah. So the upper left control arm, the brakes, spindles, tires, rims off the left side of the car, shocks, brakes, upper control arm, and the rear gone off the car, right? But that's not the bad part. The bad part is that now we're kind of in a boat, right? We're just in this buggy boat. And we hit the barbed wire fence, and we go sliding sideways on my side. Because now we hit hard, and we started sliding to the right. So then, if you've never been in this situation, it is one of the weirdest. It's like, it's like a horror movie in an awesome kind of Saw way. So we're sliding. I think we're sliding, super fast because I don't know, everything's kind of going slow. And the barbed wire is curling up inside the car. It's coming in the window and it's coming through my neck. And we just keep on hitting these concrete pylons. Bang! Bang! And the wire from the fence is curling up inside the car. So I tuck my hands and my arms in because by the way, so it would come in, as soon as it would come in, we'd get past it, it would curl up and zip out because we extended past it.
Yeah.
So it's like this razor saw coming in, and I sit on my hands. I'm like, I am going to get one of my arms ripped off. Holy shit. So then we slowly go to a stop. SEAL Team Weber screams at the top. All he yells is, he says, mother effer. How's that? You don't have to bleep that one.
Yeah.
He just screams it out loud. Right. And then I started laughing because I'm like, oh my God, finger toes. I'm laughing. I'm like, holy shit, we just made it. I'm not paralyzed. I'm not dead. He's not dead. He just yelled MFer, right?
He's talking. So,
we're good. Yeah, life is good.
He's talking. Yeah, I'm fine. I unpucker, unbuckle, and unpucker, maybe at the same time.
A little bit of the hurt giggles.
Yeah. The nervous giggles that come afterwards. Yep.
I don't know if
he grabs a cigar like he's Pappy Boyington. He grabs a cigar and I'm like, give me one of those. I'm gonna smoke one of those. I don't even smoke. I'm gonna smoke one of those because I just had my life flash from my eye. Then we sit there with this boat of a car, right? And then a SEAL Team friend of mine, SEAL Team 5 friend of mine, Dave Maynard, shows up. He was our medic on that team, and he shows up and goes, how are you? What's going on with you? And the car's destroyed, and then Weber went over to a field in the middle of nowhere and took his seat pad out and he laid down. I said, I don't know, but Weber might be injured. Go to Weber. Which, by the way, he told everybody he was fine. He technically broke his neck in the wreck.
Technically.
Yeah. Well, he kind of hurt. I mean, it's true for people who know the story only in public. He technically broke his neck the week before in an accident we had. Okay. I wasn't in the car in a pre-run, but he hurt it really, and he had surgery right afterwards. But he hurt it really bad with that lateral slam, so he was laying down for a little bit and didn't feel good. But the good news is, I was like, okay, so we've been racing for 30 hours, 32 hours, and our car is absolutely in 10,000 pieces. I just smoked a cigar. I'm gonna have a beer and I'm gonna lay down for a little bit, and then all these people start showing up, right? So Jeff Cummins from BS Footage was like, okay, we're gonna go over here, we're gonna get this, and he starts making phone calls and starts taking trucks. He's like, I think we can fix it, just like Spicoli, right? Except for I don't know if Jeff even knew his father, but he's like, I think we can fix it. I'm like, please God, don't fix this thing right now, because I'm in pain. I just had a beer. My best friend's got his neck broke. He's laying in the field, and you think you're gonna fix this thing? So 4 hours later, they fixed it.
No.
They fixed it. Oh, swear to God. They fixed it. So they wake us up and like, okay, we think you guys can make it. We're like 90 miles from the finish line. We're not that far. We're 90 miles from the finish line. Probably took me 17 hours to drive 90 miles. So then Weber's like, you're going to have to drive. I can't see anything. I'm like, oh, shit.
I can't see anything due to my broken neck and the pain I'm in.
So he
Let's
gets
go.
back
Let's
in the
do
race car.
this.
I reluctantly get back in the driver's seat, and I just start going. Now, here's the other problem, right? Fix it in the field. That's like someone cutting off your arm saying, I fixed your wound.
Yeah, put a tourniquet on it. You're right.
no left shocks, no left side brakes. We only had right side brakes. So we're going down a mountain, and anytime I got any speed and I stabbed the brake, the whole car turned sideways, like full sideways, like because all the brake bias is on the right side.
Right. Yeah.
So I was like, we're going. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not doing that again. Holy crap! So just kind of tap the brakes and then downshift. So I'm just, driving this wreck of a car at this point. We end up. It probably, and 90 miles, I'm not even joking, probably took us 3-4 hours. We were just nursing this thing, and people are blowing by us, and there's some guy in a fucking electric Tonka toy going by us, like, hey, waving at us. We finally made it to the finish line. We finished that race in 2007 in a soccer field in Cabo San Lucas, which was crazy. Yeah, completely crazy. But yeah, that was my so. And this is the punchline to the story of all with my dear friend Bill Weber. So after that, and it was on cue, and he's done it so many times. I would introduce him to people like, this is my good friend Bill Weber, and this is my good friend Bill Weber. He tried to kill me, and he would go, Bud, if I wanted to kill you, you'd be dead.
Right.
And by the way, coming from him, you're like,
Right.
That's true. All right. Well, you still really hit a tree at 80 miles an hour and about decapitated those bulls, but that's okay. All right, I get it. But yeah, that's a bad tree story.
That sounds pretty bad. See, if we hit a tree, like it cost me a door handle this winter.
Yeah,
like,
we did hit a tree.
Like $800 in damage. You did like 20 grand, 30 grand damage, 40 grand damage, something like that. Like, yeah.
But they fixed it.
Yeah.
They fixed it, allegedly.
Mine's still broken, so. But leave it to a team's guy to be like, yeah, dude, I'm in. Like, I'm hurt, but I'm in. Let's go.
I can't see. My neck's broke. Let's go. What?
Oh, no, 100%. Yeah, that guy would never give up, and he was so fast. He would never give up. Yeah. He was good.
I think I remember reading about that Go Fast buggy thing in like Popular Mechanics when I was in high school about the first Desert Storm.
Yeah,
it was
fast attack vehicle.
It was like a black dune buggy looking thing, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, open wheels, rear and front.
Yeah,
and yeah,
like
100% dune buggy.
Like a 240 Golf on the passenger side and a 50 BMG on the top.
Right. Well, let's take the sand rail and we're gonna mount some guns on it.
It's like if you told your son, "Hey, make a truck for your GI Joe guys," and he'd be like, "Cool, Dad." He made this thing,
they had them.
And it was rad. I remember, I had one.
Yeah, they had them. They had those, and that was Weber. Well, Lynn Kenworth, who was a Baja of the chassis builder, he ended up getting, but Weber was very instrumental in developing it. And they had fuel tanks. There was a diesel motor, all kinds of stuff. And then Weber and I we were developing another one. We got in a race. And I got all kinds of good stories. Right? We were in a race.
We're gonna do like a part 2.
I know we're gonna do a part 2, and we're gonna have to then focus on normal stories.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but here's a button, right? And I'm a bit. We'll get into that. I'm a bit of a steel snob, right? And we can figure that out. I don't fanboy anything, but I really appreciate the military and team guys.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. I've written 3 books on team guys. I've done tons of documentaries. I've done a lot of research and whatever, and they're all really close friends of mine. They've changed my life, right? So I'm a SEAL team snob. So Weber calls me in like 2011, said, "Hey, we're going to come this top secret mission. We're going to go take this this vehicle that's being built, which is a twin turbocharged diesel Volkswagen motor." That's in a desert-capable vehicle that is being considered by the military, and we're going to race it in this year's Baja 1000. Okay, cool. So come down. We go down, we pre-run, we do all this stuff, and then there's a couple team guys who show up, and I don't know if they showed up through Weber, because I went to question them, but there's 2 other, I won't even tell you the names, but there's 2 other team guys who show up, and they're going to be on our team. And I'm always wacky suspect about guys who run around and say they're SEAL team guys, because that stolen valor thing drives me nuts.
Right, absolutely.
And they're wearing a T-shirt, and this is just how I am. I told you I'm a SEAL snob. And I got really funky for a minute because I could have got killed. I didn't, thank God. And I'm like, I kind of read a little bit about SEAL teams, but I don't recognize that logo. And then the first thing that comes out of his mouth, I thought was complete bullshit. Complete. I'm like, you are out of your mind. I'm like, yeah, I know a lot of, I know green team and steel team and gold team, and I know all the team guys. I've never seen that logo. What is that? It's like, oh, well, yeah, it's pretty special. There's only 6 of us, so yeah, you probably wouldn't have heard of it. My radar goes up. I'm like,
Right.
oh, what is this? What do you mean there's only 6 of us? Okay, this is BS. Obviously, thank God I didn't say that. I'm like, I don't really get it. I've never heard of a special team, and I don't understand what that little symbol is, and it kind of looks like a frog with a pirate patch on. I don't really get it. He goes, yeah, we're 2 of the Somali shooters. We haloed in and shot those 2 Somali pirates off the deck. I'm like, oh shit, okay. Well, let me show you how to drive. So,
Right. Yeah, don't need to show you how to shoot.
Yeah.
I'll show you how to drive.
you can definitely parachute and somehow shoot people off the back of a boat. So we got that covered. So
Yeah.
let me show you how to drive. So then they were part of our team. So it was just me and 3 SEAL team guys, and we raced that race. And it was just a brutal race, tough race. A lot of technical issues with the that special vehicle. But I had to race with those 3 guys. It was an honor to race with those 3 guys.
It's pretty rad. It's pretty rad. I don't even know how to say it.
There's so much
Yeah.
awesomeness to that whole story. I think when it started with a SEAL team member called me about a secret mission they're going on. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah. And it
That-
wasn't.
that-
And I wasn't
well,
getting
I'm like,
blown up.
this is an amazing start to a great story, and
Right.
I'm intrigued.
Well, it's a special prize. We didn't go on a special mission like I think.
Right, but he still he still called you.
Oh, dude, Weber and I did some crazy stuff together for sure.
Oh, I can only imagine. Like,
That's it's almost like you said. It's like a made up story. Like when the guy's like, "Yeah, so me and the SEAL team was hanging out." Like, shut up, bro. Like, no,
yeah,
for real.
you're right. It's got to be an absolute challenge for you
Yeah.
to go anywhere.
So when
Yeah,
you go
yeah.
out, you're just like, "Yeah, I'm a garbage man." Like, it's just, I just pick up trash. Leave me alone. Like,
I told
I had
you.
a flat tire the other day. No.
But dude, I told you this is and this is why my part of my team is like, you got to go talk on the radio, because I feel a lot of times, even that stage, I feel like Kevin. I'm like, I've done some pretty crazy shit, and then I walked up like some asshole. Like yesterday, I tipped over my Jeep. I'm like, yeah, who cares?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
I don't really.
it's not a competition for who does the dumbest stuff in life. I mean, it's just
No, you're
Definitely
100% right.
some,
But
next level.
wait a minute. I want to be clear. It's not a competition, and I don't think but I just sound. You said it right. Whoever said it, whoever you said it first. I sound and I feel like an asshole when I open my mouth and say, "Here, oh yeah, this one time I was racing with the Somali pirate shooters, and we were doing this, and my other boys, SEAL Team 6, and we did this and this." I'm like such a dick. I just don't even talk.
Then I flew to
Like,
Peru
yeah,
and built a school for paraplegic children and stayed in Ocelot. Like,
No. In Peru, that's different. In Peru, we built a recycling center for handicapped kids.
yeah,
Get it right, Jim. Damn
close.
It. Come
Did
on.
you
take
save an
some
ass lot down
notes,
there?
For God's sakes.
No. I think I stayed in the Marriott when I was on.
That's ridiculous, dude.
But in Bolivia, we built a convenience thing in Bolivia. We stayed at a ayahuasca village in these little grass huts that had composting toilets, and they normally did ayahuasca. We're like, well, we don't. Most of the crew wanted to do ayahuasca. But everybody wanted to do. We were at this ayahuasca camp. I'm like, well, we don't want to do ayahuasca, and we definitely don't want to vomit and do yoga. But can we just rent the whole camp, because we're building this thing up the street for the village, and that's where we stayed. It was beautiful.
Oh, goodness.
I stayed in a yurt once.
We slept in a tent. It was like -10 one time. That was pretty dumb.
Yeah, what are you doing in January? We're gonna be up in UP camping in the snow. If you want to come help us with that mess,
No, I don't like the snow.
should be about
And by the way,
30
when
inches
you
of powder.
promote this, no thanks. When you guys promote this, don't put Bud and then you quote Kevin, because that'll piss me off. That's not good. 'Cause I do feel like that sometimes.
No, won't do that. But like, yeah, it's definitely
It's all fun and games.
that
You
was
get a letter
based
from the
on you,
legal
wasn't it?
department.
That was totally.
It's all fun and games. You get a letter from that legal department, like, "Hey, Bud Brutsman, what? Cease and desist? What? It was a joke, bro."
I told you not to call me Kevin, damn it.
We're gonna make T-shirts. ORGP, Wheeling with Kevin.
Exactly. But if you haven't put the Baja 1000 in your bucket, then you have to do it. I mean, it's every man's race.
yeah.
There's 35 classes. I have another TV show that I'm working on. I think you want to hear the dumbest of dumb? And
Absolutely.
I'm half away thinking about doing it, right? Everybody thinks
Okay.
they're a man. There's only 2 groups of men in Baja. Let's discuss this. I'm actually,
Okay.
I don't belong to either one of them by any stretch of the imagination. But there's only two real groups of men down there, right? There's the guys who run Ironman, right?
Okay.
And Ironman, and there's a class called Ironman motorcycle. You want to talk about blowing bubbles and doing ayahuasca and getting in touch with reality and all this other stuff, and we'll talk about hallucinations in a minute. So there's an Ironman motorcycle class who do the entire 1,000 miles, and the class is built for one rider, one bike, beginning to end, right? And those guys are gods. I mean, they're gods. There's a Delta Force guy named Michael Sturkis. He goes down there all the time and he wins. The late rider who actually, they're really, man, that's terrible. It's a terrible story about that. He died recently at Pikes Peak. But in the movie Death to Glory, we follow one of the riders as he tried to conquer the Baja 1000 in the Ironman class, and that was part of the whole series we kind of walked through. But yeah, so the Ironman class was one of them. And can you guess what the other class is, or what the other group of guys are? Like real men?
The ones that drive the bugs.
Yeah. No. Yes. Class 11. And you know what the specs on Class 11 are?
I do not, but I just thought it looked like it would be not comfortable to drive in.
No, not comfortable with piston. It doesn't even matter, right? So it's like pre-72 stock motor, stock suspension, fuel cell roll cage race. Right? That is insanity. Their races are like 60 hours, and it's always funny. We're down there, and the trophy trucks come in 20 hours. These bikes come in 22 hours. We've got all these classes coming in, and then literally, not even joking, this happens almost every year, and we should do it. There's been films on it. I might be building a Baja bug and going racing with some guys just because it's a spectacle. Just to do it, you got to go race Class 11 because it's like, oh my God. So, and then usually on Sundays, which is the race course is closed, which means race course is closed. There's no helicopters. There's no medical race or normal traffic, cows, farmers, fishermen, whatever. And we do our award ceremony, 12 hours after the last car went through the line. And we're doing an award ceremony, and everybody's clapping. Congratulations. Trophy truck guys have already been in for 30 hours at that point, right? 30 hours, like literally 30 hours, like 24 hours and 6 more hours. So they've already been in. And then always on Sunday afternoon, there's some guy like honking his horn in the middle of the Malaton, in the middle of Ensenada, honking his horn like he's King Kong, and he just and it's a Class 11 guy who, avoided all the road closures, was told to get off the course because everything's closed, there's no safety, and he's just powering through 62 hours in, and he finished the race. And those guys are just unbelievable. A stock VW. I kid you not. Go look it up.
Awesome.
Stock VW.
I've seen them, and I'm like, man, I wonder, that's got to be brutal. And it absolutely sounds brutal.
Yeah, there's a friend of mine. There's a friend of mine that has a little one that's attached to an orphanage called Bachito. And it's Dennis Hollenbach is his name, and he races, and they switch off, and that's just, oh my God, they're just animals, complete animals, not even from this planet.
It's got to be.
I mean, it's like on 28-inch tires.
Yeah, some super skinnies.
Oh,
yeah, absolutely. Just hammering away.
180 horsepower.
Yeah, right. Just listening to that for
62 hours in that thing.
62 hours of raging Volkswagen.
I'd rather be waterboarded and listen to Barry Manilow for 40 hours.
Right. Oh, that's gotta be so brutal. But it's almost like, it's almost.
I guess by comparison, 40-inch tires with 18, 20-inch, 30 inches of travel at 100 is probably smoother.
It's like a flying couch. No, the trophy trucks are a flying couch. It's nothing. You can run over a Baja bug and not even know. Like, what was that? A steak and cow, or was that a bug? I don't really know.
Which has always been some of my favorite footage is watching those trophy trucks go ripping through the desert and just watching like the truck stay completely still and watching these tires just like move. Like you said, like 30 inches of travel, and just like, oh my God, that is amazing.
Yeah,
it's the closest thing to a chicken head as you can get in life, right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you?
Because chicken, if you take a chicken and shake it, its head stays level, but its body will move all over hell.
Exactly
right. You never shake a chicken?
Yeah.
You gotta shake a chicken once in a while.
I mean, I don't have any running around, but yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Wait a minute. You've never shook a chicken? Wait a minute. I'm confused. But yeah, it's like a chicken head. You just sit there and that body just goes, wow, and the wheels are going bang, bang. Oh, it's the most beautiful thing. It's a flying couch. Those things are flying couches.
And it's much like my fraternity couch or my college couch, right? When my buddies puked all over it, just like you. Your co-driver puked all over your couch.
That's actually, you know what? So, the logistics of puking in one's helmet. Like, just touch on that for a second, because, like, that sounds absolutely horrible. Like, I can't even.
Well, the good news is.
Didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, the good news. It's a thing. Yeah, no, it's definitely a thing. I've never done it, thank God. Well. It's fairly common, and you usually do it during pre-running. Is a normal thing. You definitely do it during pre-running when you're racing a lot and you go down the pre-run. Usually, the guys and the people you're with are drinking a little bit too much, and they get too much cervezas, and then you take them out the next morning, and you can tell that they're going to puke in their helmet because you race, and all of a sudden you kind of hear them like, hey, you start talking to them, tell me when the right turn's coming up, and they're going,
no.
And then you're like, oh. And then then it clicks. You're like, this idiot's going to puke because he drank too much last night. So then you just throw it in fourth gear, and you go as fast as you can. You hit every bump. You go through cactuses. You do everything you possibly can in that vehicle to make this jackass puke. And then when they do it, it's just they're so mad at you because you could slow down and be a nice guy. That's not how the game is played. The game is played like if your co-driver is can't get his words out, you hammer down.
It's time to pay homage. It's time to pay homage to the god of fun.
Make them pay.
Not during the race necessarily.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like that's conducive to
pre-running. Like you said, if you can't control yourself, you got to pay homage to the god of fun at some point. And it'll be at 90 miles an hour my pre-runner.
Yeah, and generally, they're trying to hold it in, and we have a dust skirt around their neck too, right?
Yeah, so it's in
sometimes
there.
They lift up. Oh yeah, you're in there, and you're trying to lift it up, and you're trying to get the pin strap off, and you just blah everywhere.
Oh, no.
And then you just gotta sit there, and you're still on your lap and in your mouth and breathe it in. And that generally is a chain effect, because then now you're smelling the hot, smelly vomit that's in your thing. You're like, I'm just gonna go.
You got 14 Dos Equis and 3 or 4 tacos de lengua in you, and
no.
Yep.
Oh, that's horrible.
And then they get out of the car and they're like, son of a bitch. I'm like, what? What'd you do? I couldn't hear you. You were unplugged, and I didn't know you were puking.
You were unplugged. Note to self: you ever ride with Bud, make sure your mute button doesn't work.
When you're waving your hands around, I thought you were saying go, go, go. I didn't mean like stop. I'm gonna vomit in my helmet like a toddler. I thought you meant go. Sorry, just like there's no hand signal for I'm gonna vomit.
We hadn't discussed our signals yet for this.
Yeah. What's the hand signal for I'm a jackass? I drink too much and I'm gonna vomit in my helmet. I don't know.
It's tapping the top of your helmet, I think.
Yeah, no, that's safe diver, right? Safe diver.
In the supermoto world, it's cop ahead. So, no wheelies is a cop.
Exactly.
Oh.
All right. Did I ramble enough for you guys?
We've covered and touched so many amazing things that I could not be happier.
I'm gonna have to ask Jason questions later. Like, Jay, did he say that he was hanging out knitting socks with SEAL teams for homeless kids? And be like, yeah, I think he did.
Pretty sure that was in there.
It was a rad talk, though, man, for sure.
Well, you guys, there's so much of my life revolves around off-road racing and people, and we build trucks, we do stuff, and I have so many, obviously, close friends, and been lucky enough to be involved with Mexico and Score and Baja 1000. My close friend Roger Norman owns Score now. He bought it from South Fish. And he has pretty much just had me on their performance team for 16, 17 years. I've been able to go down and race. You can look this up. I was on the Raptor development team in 2008. So we raced and developed the original Raptor in 2008 and raced in the Baja 1000.
And that's what I was going to ask you about. That had to be an awesome experience. Because
that was
a rad truck.
Dude, you did not know. I mean, you see, my name's on the door. I was filming it, and I was a part of it. And we were racing at the time, and I was so into it. And me and some of the racers went out to Ford, and we kind of saw the prototype vehicle, and they were racing the prototype vehicle out in the desert. And then we premiered it at the place called Horsepower Ranch in Mexico, where we kind of unveiled the truck. And then there was this moment, and I made a movie about it. There's this moment we're in this would scare the crap out of me, right? Then, with a moment in the movie, we're on this dry lake bed called Laguna Salada. Now, there's a couple problems with Laguna Salada, but it's a dry lake bed, like Bonneville, huge dry lake bed. There's a couple problems with it, and as much as you pre-run it, as much as you talk about it, and people say the dumbest shit at bars, and you talk about it, and one of the things we talk about when you're hanging out is, and you listen to these guys, and they're more experienced than you, and you're learning, and you're a sponge. You're like, what's your section? It's like, oh, I'm going to take it from Ojos. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go here. I'm going to bomb down Laguna Salada. And they'll stop you and go, oh, yeah, don't forget there's a wrecked car and a downed airplane in Laguna Salada, so don't hit those. And you're like, and after like 3 beers, you're like, okay, don't hit the wrecked airplane in Laguna Salada. Okay, whatever. Right. So then, I got to switch my headphones out.
Oh, you're good.
So then, it's in the documentary I did. So then you're in this Raptor, and you kind of step out, and you have nothing but dry lake bed in front of you. And we had the 6.2. We had the very first 6.2, and it stamped prototype on it. So I open up the 6.2, and I'm just like, and I'm gonna go. I'm gonna see what this thing can do. And we're like 68 or 7,000 pounds of wet. So I'm doing like 103, 104. In the prototype, and all there's so much going through my head. So I had Cliff Irie, who was the head of Ford Racing at the time, like, don't wreck this thing. Whatever you do not wreck this. We got to finish. We don't. So, and then my co-driver is egging me on, like, open it up, see if we can go. And then I don't know, there's some kind of thing that happened with my head when I put my helmet on, and my right foot just stabbed it. And we're doing 103, 104
right
miles
foot
an
gets
hour.
Heavy. I get it.
Yeah, and we're ripping through the dry lake bed. And then there's this asshole at the bar who's like there's a wrecked car on your left and a downed airplane on your right. Now I'm scared out of my mind. I think I'm going to plow right into a 747. So I'm flying. I'm really intense. I'm like, I should lift, but I'm not lifting. I'm just like, wah! And there's this open desert in front of me, and it's all dry lake beds. And I just think something's going to come up. And I'm just looking at the little specks. Is that a plane? Oh, it's not a plane. Okay, what the hell is that? Okay, that's not it. Oh, that looks like a beer. No, it's not a beer can. I'm thinking, luckily, and it goes on for like 7-8 minutes, just wide open throttle, 7-8 minutes, just bombing through the dry lake bed in the prototype Raptor. Was probably the highlight of my life. It's amazing. And I didn't hit anything. And I handed it off to the next team. We had a pretty big team that year. And truck was fine, didn't wad it up, didn't break it, but I could have killed it, honestly. Yeah. I could have hit it. I never even saw the airplane, by the way. That's how stupid I am. It was at night. And I'm like, somebody at a bar told me there's a wrecked airplane and a junk car out there, and don't hit it. And I had no idea where it was.
So is that like a real thing, or is that racer myth to mess with the new guy? Is that like racer legend?
Oh, there's broke down cars in Rick. Some people take cars out there. There's definitely broke down cars. It depends on what line you take. I mean, you could take one line in the desert, and you're 2 miles from it, and the next line you're 10 feet from it, and awesome. Hopefully you're not going fast enough where you don't you can check up when you see it. But I don't know, it comes at you so fast.
Right.
And you outrun your lights.
Oh, yeah, 2008.
It is amazing, like, how far those trucks have come. Like, when they first came out, amazing.
Right.
Today, also still amazing. Like, want one.
It's the greatest. By the way, the Raptor, don't care what anybody says. It's the most off-road capable vehicle ever put out. And I remember I was in all the meetings and all the development meetings in Ford, and we talked about developing that truck and racing that truck and what we're going to do. It was definitely an amazing experience.
Yeah,
I could imagine 105 radar love in my head, 6.2 screaming, looking for an airplane. Wait a minute. Like, where's this plane at?
Who listens to Radar Love? What the hell?
Jim does.
That's my driving song, man.
Oh my God! How about Kickstart My Heart or something for men?
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. I have to go ahead and play some Detroit Rock City.
Radar Love.
That's a hell of a driving song, man.
I feel like Bud's a little bit faster pace.
Yeah. I got some Slipknot in the truck, if that helps anybody. I don't know.
Yeah.
You got to speed it up a little bit, get that tempo going a little bit more, like 103 on a dry lake bed.
In the desert in the dark, looking for a downed airplane.
That's right.
Yeah.
Radar Love is good when you're trying to wind up your 6-cylinder Nova to 80 down the highway.
when you're hauling the rig to the race.
There it is. Is that what it is?
Exactly.
That's a tow rig. Okay.
It's a tow rig.
I got to have
That's what you
a race playlist and a tow rig playlist.
Oh,
apparently.
man. This has been absolutely awesome, but I truly appreciate this. We're about an hour 9. I think we're going to wrap it up.
Real quick before we do, if anybody wants to know about Baja stuff, you're really into it. I know you've done documentaries and movies. What else can they look for besides Dust to Glory to kind of get into it?
Well, Dust to Glory is obviously, there's two. The original that Dana Brown directed in 2003, 2004, and then we reprised it in 2016 called Dust with the number 2 Glory was a new one that Dana and I did in 2016. Okay. ScoreInternational.com and also our Score webpage, we produced about 106, 107 videos a year that we put out. On ESPN2, which is coming up in January 3rd on ESPN2, I don't know, a couple weeks from now, 8 or 9 days. The newest version of the Baja 1000, we just finished taping. This year's Baja 1000 will be on ESPN2. So we produce all those for ESPN and ABC.
Awesome.
I'm super excited.
Go check them out. Yeah, go check them out. We keep a little tame for the ESPN audience and not all the crazy, cow hitting stories.
Right.
And,
yeah. I imagine some people frown on that. The pink mist behind the trophy truck. Oh. All right. Well, that sounds good. I think we'll wrap it up.
Sounds good.
Yeah, but if you want to stay on, we'll talk to you a little bit after. But.
Yep, no problem.
Thanks a bunch.
And we are out.